We're going to be working on Old Krusty the plow truck again. I'm not liking the way it's sitting with the 4-inch lift kit. Looks like it's kind of jacked up in the back. I talked to Rough Country and I found out that they measure from the center of the hub to the wheel well lip. When I gave them my measurements, the front was correct, but the back was high. We pretty much came up with that either it's a recurved leaf spring or there's like an add leaf in it. The blocks that were in there in the first video were the correct blocks for this truck. A good comment on the first video was that with the airbags in there, they might have skewed the initial measurement. We're going to change it up from the 4-inch lift to the 6-inch lift just in the front and see if we get it leveled out. To do that, they gave us some new springs and they gave us 2 shocks. There's quad shocks on here. We'll be moving the front shock to the rear position and then we'll be returning the rear shock. And actually, Rough Country was really good about it. They said just send it back for full refund. And I also had to buy the longer brake lines for it, so we'll pop those on there. For the record, once again, we have about 38 in the front and about 41 in the back. First thing I'm doing here is dropping the sway bar down. So I don't have to fight it when I lower those axles. You can see this already has the sway bar drop brackets on it. I'm going to support the axle with a stanchion now and take the shocks and springs out. This front shock will be moved to the back position and then this back shock will be sent back to them. So I got my shocks out and I decided to go ahead and throw the brake lines in right now. The truck's in good position, they'll be easy to get to. Hopefully the bleeder crack's free. And this rubber hose is held in by a clip back there, and then you can see it transitions to the hard line. We had a brake line casualty, the one that runs from the driver's side to the passenger side. So what I did here is I just took a 3/16 inch union and a plug and capped off the line from the master. I don't want the master to go dry at any point and chance getting air in there. And in the meantime I can mock up all my lines. I'm putting my brake lines in, and luckily I had some of these clips in stock. 2 of these are needed to lock them in place. Here she is landed with the clip. I'm gravity bleeding these brakes. She's pouring out pretty good. The axles are back on the stanchions. Try to get the spring out now. We did that with no load on the spring. We have to remove this nut once again in order to get the spring out. Here's a look at the free length of all 3 of these springs. We only have 2 stanchions, so we chained up the axles so they don't completely drop. And we're getting ready to take out the pivot bolts there and that new one back there. Then we can use the stanchions to lower the axles into position. Both the pivot bolts have to be out to be able to lower the axle. I'll simultaneously lower these stanchions and see if you're going to line up. Oh, shit. Oh, there we go. It's lined up. We got our pivot bolts in. Really had to wrestle it with some pry bars and things. But now we're going to put the axles back on the stanchions and try to get the springs in. So there's just a little bit of play left on this brake line. See if we get the spring in here. We'll go ahead and finish landing the spring and shocks now and be back with you in a minute. So these are the 2 shocks for one side of the front for the quad shock suspension, and we got the longer, newer one for the front position, and then the one that was in the front we're going to move to the rear front position. Here it is all put back together. Yeah, that front shock is awful close to that spring. We got them springs as back as far as we could get them. When we put it down it might clearance better. And this steel brake line had a funny twist in it that we couldn't get out of it. But it's plenty long. This kit was definitely a serious attitude adjustment for this truck. Drove it around some, let the suspension settle, and this is what we got. This is really the look I was going for. Still at 41 in the back. front's at about 40 or 40 and a half. I pretty much came to the conclusion that the springs in the back of this truck are replaced and curved a little bit differently than what was originally on there. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.